Welcome back to the house that Allen built, week 2. My name is Scott Kinmartin.
And I'm Greg Vollmer.
And today we're going to talk about the Bills Rams. We're going to recap that. We're going to discuss this week's Monday night game against the Titans.
Is this thing on? Because it's about to be Bills Mafia.
This thing on? Because it's getting ready to be on.
I know you're all happy right now. I know Buffalo, New York is churning and burning with a lot of Go Bills on the streets in anticipation for a Monday night game. And thank you, Bills Mafia, for showing up in LA and showing that city what real football fans look like. I think it was maybe half the stadium that was filled with Bills fans.
It was pretty close.
And the other half that sold their tickets in LA, they were probably too busy getting their plastic surgery scheduled. Making sure that their maintenance on their lawns were going to be set for the next day. Thanks for showing up and showing what a real blue-collar team looks like, and that was Buffalo Bills football. Scott, let's do a cheers.
All right.
To a victory, 1-0. And what are your thoughts about that game that was last Thursday where we walked in there and showed the Rams what's up?
I felt like when Allen sets the tone early, 9 plays, 75 yards, 5 minutes, right down their throats, touchdown. You go up 7-0, and then the defense stops the Rams. It looked good. The defense was ready to go. Allen was ready to go.
I dare say that first drive was surgical.
Yes, it was. And, we did have a couple turnovers, four turnovers. Allen threw 2 picks, and we had 2 fumbles. James Cook. You were worried about his usage?
I was excited to watch him. It turned out we didn't get to see him too much after that fumble.
Yeah, when I say worried, I'm talking about you were more like wondering how many carries and touches. And his very first touch, fumble. Now, there's a weird correlation between running backs and their first carry that end up being something in the NFL. It happened to Christian McCaffrey. It happened, I believe, to Delvin Cook. It happened to a lot of people who are now in the Hall of Fame.
So you're saying that just because you fumble on your first carry in the NFL career doesn't mean you're going to be left for dead. So keep that in mind. Have some patience on your fantasy rosters, those fantasy players out there.
Absolutely. So the offense was on fire. They had 9 out of 10 third down conversions. So they only made it to fourth down once, right? And they set a franchise record. That was 90%, right?
A lot of records seem to be getting broken by this group.
I'll tell you. And Allen had 83.9% completion percentage. So he was slinging it. And really, his only incompletions were actually interceptions. The one to McKenzie was McKenzie's fault. It like right through his hands into the defender.
You gotta catch it with your hands there, not let it hit your chest. And if it hits your chest, sometimes it bounces off.
And then the one with Crowder, I'd say there was a slight miscommunication there. It was a little behind. It was a little forced. But Crowder didn't jump in front of the defender who jumped in front of him, and that was the other turnover. So the fact that they went in 10-10 at halftime, like Allen said, it felt like a win. Resets 0-0 when you're approaching the game in the second half, and then they scored 3 touchdowns and just full throttle kept going. And the defense, 7 sacks. Seven sacks.
So Von Miller,
he's proved that he was a missing piece.
Yeah, and I heard about it during training camp. We heard it from the media. This dude's a leader. He's a sure ballot, first ballot Hall of Famer, and we got to see first and foremost.
I like it.
We got to see first and foremost what it's like to have not only a Pro Bowl caliber player, but a player that hypes the guys up on the sideline. He's clearly gotten to those young defensive linemen in Epinesa, in Oliver.
Don't blink.
Don't blink. He just kept on saying on the sidelines, don't blink. And then he talked to Greg Rousseau. He said, take over this game. And what did Rousseau do? He got a sack on the next series.
Epinesa's had a rough first couple of years. He's had moments that were really good. Rousseau, very raw, young. We obviously drafted him for his ceiling, just like Allen and a lot of these other guys. But, to have 8 or 9 defensive linemen just get after him. 0 pressures. Or, sorry, 0 sacks, a bunch of pressures.
So, obviously, coaching is important, but it just goes to show that bringing in a player that is a one of one, as they say about Von Miller, how big of a difference that makes. bringing a guy in like that, you have the coaching, but then you've got a player that can do, it's like an extension of a coach.
Yeah.
And not only can he show by example, but he can talk with those guys. He can, feed them his knowledge he's gained over the last decade plus in the league.
He was the first one to have one of these clinics. Now you've got the tight end one, tight end university.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of them, but Von Miller really, he's been a student of the game for a long time. And I mean, he's for 32, whatever 32. He is, 33, he's petite but fast. I mean, you see him getting around the edge. He just made those guys look like they were...
He bends his body in crazy ways. He goes under the armpit of offensive tackles. He plays mind games, and he's got patience. When I was watching the highlights this week, he picks his battles, but he's smart about it.
Yeah.
He doesn't... And when I say this, I don't want to sound like he slacks off on certain plays, because he doesn't. He's always thinking. He's so cerebral in between the ears.
Yep.
And he just picks his battles, and it's like this, cat and mouse game, and he's waiting for those opportunities, like where he got that sack and just kind of came around like a lion on Stafford, and he bent under, and those plays are just, that's what Bills Mafia was waiting to see in real live action where it counted, and they got to see it under those LA bright lights there on Thursday.
What's going to extend his career is what they're doing with him. Surprisingly, he didn't play more than, I think it was 40% of the snaps at most.
That rotation that McDermott's
It has
doing.
been a rotation. And there was only one or two guys that were above 50%, and one of them might have been Rousseau.
And that's part of why we've had some of the health, knock on wood, some of the healthiest teams over the last couple of years.
We've got a great fitness and health team, equipment team, coaching staff. I mean, these guys have put together, there's a reason why they're Super Bowl favorites. And it's not just the depth of the team. It's the culture. They're fun. They're having fun. If you saw Allen threw a touchdown to Davis, Diggs, McKenzie, he ran one in.
Well, now that you bring it up, Scott, can we talk about Josh Allen real quick?
Josh Allen is a creature. He's a beast. He can make every throw on the football field. He can run the ball. He's big. He's strong.
The one that went to Wyoming?
He went to the
University of Wyoming. He wrote a letter to 1,000 different universities.
Laramie, Wyoming, where
nobody took him.
Shout out to my sister Ann Vollmer. She was a stud hurdler at the University of Wyoming. Go Pokes.
That's right.
So, Allen, can I just say, opening drive, the look on his face, I can only equate it to like an MJ insanity locked in face. Like, this whole team is about to go on a league-wide wrecking tour, and this is opening season for the hunt.
If you think about it, against the Titans in the playoffs 3 years ago, right? They were up 16-0. They blew it. The next year, they make it to the AFC Championship.
Oh, against the Texans.
What did I say?
Titans.
We're playing the Titans.
You
this
got the
week.
Titans on your mind.
You meant what I knew. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Houston Oilers became the Titans. There's a lot of history between these two teams. We know that the Music City Miracle is a thing, right, for the Titans game. But we'll focus on recapping this Rams game first.
I didn't shed any tears during the Music City Miracle, by the way. I didn't cry when I was 11.
This shows my age, but I was a senior in high school, and I was at a wrestling tournament. And it was January 8th, 2000. So, Y2K. And
Y2K.
I was in the hallway in between matches, and I look up, and I'm like, we're going to win this. Just like the 13 seconds feeling. The reason why, when I stood up on my chair last year in that game against the Chiefs, I'm like, and then I took a breath, because I knew there's still time.
Yeah, I was naive, getting ready to celebrate and wondering.
You were thinking about going through a table again.
I was thinking about going through a table. Man, was that premature celebration.
But we've got some footage we'll have to show you of him jumping through a table.
Don't practice premature celebration, my friends. Wait till that final whistle blows.
Yeah, the women don't like that. You don't want to blow. You don't want to blow it too soon. So, so let's talk about Allen.
He rushed 10 times for 56 yards. Another rushing touchdown, which was in Superman fashion.
Yeah.
Posterized, I think the young ones are saying. He posterized
the
him.
stiff arm was just beautiful.
Just stiff arm, a cornerback that used to be a backup running back. Just regular stuff.
It reminded me of the Derrick Henry stiff arm that we talked about in week 1.
Yeah.
And I felt like some of those rushes were perfectly fine. But every time he's got the ball in your hand, you're excited, you're elated. But you got to take a deep breath and hold your breath because he takes too many hits. Out of those 10 runs, I'd say 7 of them were fine because he's doing a little shoulder hit or a run out of bounds or a slide, but he has no problem with contact. And whether you're a linebacker, a safety, a lineman, you're hitting a 6'5", 240 to 250 quarterback.
And you know that some of these linebackers and safeties and cornerbacks, they don't want to see him coming at them.
Yeah.
But he needs to pick and choose his battles.
He made Bobby Wagner look like a little bitch, too.
He did. Now Dorsey called, even in the fourth quarter, Dorsey called some designed run plays where he took some impact.
Yeah.
He's had 600, for those of you that don't know, Allen has taken 638 hits so far in his career, most among any starting quarterback since that span of the last 4 years. So
yeah, he's a bruiser, but
you can't take away what makes him awesome, like the stiff arm and the Wagner play. But
you can limit the impact physically,
and he's smart enough to know that. He's already talked about it in an interview this week. But it's easy to say that when you're behind the camera. It's another thing when his adrenaline's pumping and he's got that crazy MJ psycho face going on, where he's like, "I will do whatever it takes, get on my fucking back."
He's got the arm and mentality of Brett Favre, who's done wild things like that. Elway did it too.
Favre
He's
took
got
so many hits.
He's got the size and running ability of Newton, right? And he's just
Kinda
got
the body of Big Ben.
Big Ben. And now
He's a
Chris
hybrid.
Collinsworth compared him to someone I would have never expected, Tom Brady. Because he's becoming more and more cerebral about where he's looking on the field. He even will set up defenders by looking one way and coming right back to where he's going to go. And he sees what's going on and he's dissecting it like Manning, like Brady, like the greats. And if you put all the physical intangibles together with that, whew.
During the broadcast, he said, "Am I watching Tom Brady out here?"
And I was like, how is he like Tom Brady? And then I'm like, oh, that makes sense, actually.
And then all Bills Mafia is like, "Don't you bring that man's name into the same sentence as Allen? How dare you?"
I mean, they did fool the Rams defense with they did a lot of the dink and dunk like Brady, the short ones. You're getting a 5-yard, 10-yard completion. You're chipping away. That's how they did 9 plays, 75 yards in 5 minutes. I mean, it's got to be so maddening on the defense to where you're like, you sack them one play or you get a turnover. Next time they have the ball, boom, 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 boom. And maybe even the Rams were like, all right, we'll keep everything in front of us. And then look what he did. He
and then it opened it up to big bombs to Davis and then one to...
he evaded...
To Diggs for the touchdown.
He would have been sacked or at least pushed out to where he would have to throw it away. But what does Allen do? He rolls out and literally on his... He's just awkwardly throwing like a baseball. Whoop. And that was the one to Diggs. I mean, where Diggs he was falling down, so it was kind of perfect. But what a game. What a game.
So we talked a lot about positives here.
Yeah.
What was your biggest takeaway of a biggest concern going into week 2 after that game?
I would say obviously limit the turnovers. That's pretty rare. The fact that he had that many in week 1, you don't want to see that. The hits, you don't want to see that.
And you saw that around the league, right? The sloppiness. Mm-hmm. Now, we looked vastly sharper than I would say 60-70% of the league watching games on Sunday.
Yeah.
But you saw Burrow. Burrow had 4 interceptions and still pulled up 26 points out of his ass for fantasy.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, I mean, they had some mistakes, but they still were able to overcome it, and they clearly looked like the sharper team.
I mean, the negatives, I guess, would be that Ed Oliver and Tim Settle got a little banged up. They may not make the game. One of them or both of them.
Yeah, we're waiting to hear
and Dane Jackson.
Waiting to hear about the Friday injury report on that.
Those are the big ones. The defense did phenomenal. I mean, it was 10-10 at halftime, like I said. They finished the game 31-10. I mean, a 3-score game against the defending Super Bowl champions. You know, you can't ask for much more. I mean, it was nearly a perfect game. 0 punts again. That makes 2 out of the last 3 regular season games and 4 out of the last 6 games, including the postseason. That is insane.
And
the punt god, we didn't need him. So we got Sam Martin.
0 punts yet again.
All pro Sam Martin, didn't even need him. So hopefully we have a lot more of those games where we're either not punting or punting 1 or 2 times at most. So let's hope. I've got here that Devin Singletary had 10 touches. Zach Moss had 12. So it was a bit surprising to see how much Moss was used. He had 6 catches, which I like that Dorsey's using the running backs. He's using them on screens, on quick ins. It looked nice. It was nice to be able to do that without having to go deep.
And get him involved. Get Singletary involved early and often like that because he is talented. He made people miss like he always does. He motored it up. He's proven that he's reliable. And my biggest takeaway, there wasn't much to take away that was negative unless you get really nitpicky with this game.
Yeah.
I just think ball security, right?
Yeah,
and
of course.
turnovers tell the story week in and week out.
You normally lose. If you lose a turnover battle, although it can be fluky, balls bounce in weird ways.
It just sucks. No one
You're
wants
playing
to
a good
see it.
team.
You lose momentum there, whether it be
Yeah.
even, for a couple minutes or 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever. It's just no one likes to see that. Just hold on to the ball. James Cook will learn from it. Moss will learn from it.
I think Cook will get more opportunity as time goes. I mean, Allen has so many weapons that Knox was hardly even used. I think he had 2 targets, 1 catch. There's weeks where you're going to get that. It's going to be a dud. So if you have him on your starting roster for fantasy, be patient. Just like 90% of the tight ends, it's going to be a clunker here and there.
And if you have
most
Allen,
weeks.
if you have Allen on your fantasy football team, you're feeling pretty good.
You've got 3 fantasy teams this year?
I'm doing 3 leagues. I'm not proud
But
of it.
you've got Allen in 1.
Got Allen in 1.
And in that one, you had Burrow as your backup, and you traded him
I did.
because you wanted.
I lost Eli Mitchell, and so he's going to be on the IR.
I was at that game. Go Bills! I was in Chicago for a Cubs game on Saturday and the Bears game on Sunday, and it was downpouring. I mean, when the game started, it was a little sprinkle. By halftime, I mean, there were puddles here and there.
Would you say it was raining cats and Chicago dogs?
Ooh, Chicago dogs. You're not supposed to do ketchup, right? So I actually have been to Chicago,
ketchup.
and I did the culinary cliches where it was like through the Ford Fiesta movement, where I was literally going to New York for pizza, Chicago for the deep dish. I did their hot dogs. So a Chicago style dog, it's on a poppy seed bun. It's the hot dog, and it's mustard with relish. It's actually a pickle. You could do relish, but really it's a dill pickle across it, and then peppers.
Yeah, peppers.
And a tomato.
Yeah.
And a tomato with celery salt on it. That is a Chicago dog.
A Chicago dog.
I had it at Portillo's. I went to Super Dogs, which was like a drive up, almost like think Sonic, but for hot dogs.
Yeah.
And they've got burgers and shakes and stuff. Anyway.
And what jersey were you wearing to the game there at Soldier
Josh Mother Allen.
Josh Allen.
My friend Nathan, who was with me, thought that I was going to get killed. He's like, dude, we're in Chicago, this crime-riddled city. These guys are passionate about the Bears. And
Bears.
I didn't have a single negative person say anything to me. In
That's
fact,
awesome.
a lot of people were like fist bumping me and saying, respect, man. He's a dog. He's a dog.
We got a real one.
We do. And I know it's like NFC teams, and then we're in the AFC. So really, unless we both see the Super Bowl, it's not going to matter. But that was a hell of a game. There wasn't much passing because it was sloppy. Fields didn't look that great in the second half, but he looked decent in the first half. And not to make this about the Bears and the 49ers, but there was a dude that was sitting in the 100 level, and the water was coming down off of the upper deck and just drenching him. And so I put it up on TikTok, I put it on Facebook and Instagram. It's got a couple million views between the clips that I shared.
He was living his best life. Sad that he traveled from, I would only assume, would have been the West Coast, but never know. Maybe he lives there and he's a fan of.
Well, a lot of
the
people
Niners,
were in town because when I went to the Cubs game on Saturday, it was the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah, doing the.
So they did basically a doubleheader Saturday, Sunday, and then the Bears happened to be playing as well.
Yeah.
So
hey, that's what you do at sports fans.
Yeah, I mean, you've got people traveling to San Francisco.
We got to knock out that Sabres Bills combo at some point.
I know. Actually, they're playing right now. In their young prospects are playing. But
go Sabres. Let's get on to the game that's coming up here on Monday night.
Oh, one second. So McKenzie scored a touchdown, and
A little dirty.
he did a
Face of the franchise?
The face of the franchise did a gender reveal into the camera. He says it's a boy, but then he turned, and the camera guy that was in the end zone, much closer shot, was like, "It's a boy."
The big man spike.
And then on social media, you'll see, I believe it was a shot of, I don't think it was his wife or fiance, I think it was his sister.
His sister.
Celebrating because he revealed on national
Super
television.
cool.
It was really cool. So we've got the stiff arm covered. We've got the Allen runs. We're talking about Dorsey. We've talked about the running backs.
I think that was just the theme that kind of encapsulates last Thursday night. It was really cool.
What I like seeing was Jordan Phillips, who started his career in Miami, came to Buffalo, did really well. His last year in Buffalo, he had 9.5 sacks. Then he chased some money. Went to Arizona, didn't really fit the scheme, was there for 2 years, came back, picked right up where he left off before. A sack and a half. I mean, he was blowing the lineup. So
Love to see him back in a Bills uniform.
when you see guys like that in the offensive line, it's literally 5, including the center, on 4. And we got 7 sacks, never even had to blitz. It blows my mind that we have such a strong offense and defense, because throughout the 17-year drought, we had an amazing offense for a couple of years. No defense.
It's always one or the other. You couldn't have both.
But most of the time, it's been amazing defense and shitty offense. You know,
Yeah.
we know the days with Dick Duran.
Is that another Dick Duran reference? Are we 2 for 2?
We are 2 for 2.
Significantly worse than it was, and it's always bad to win.
It's hard.
It's hard to win,
It's hard to win.
but the Bills have done it.
Well, let's hope that it continues.
Yes. All right.
Into Monday night, Highmark Stadium. We can call it the Ralph. We can call it the Rich.
Rich Stadium.
We
The
can-
Rich.
The Ralph is always going to
Yeah.
hold a special place, in my heart.
Yeah.
But yeah, Highmark Stadium,
Home opener.
home opener for Bills Mafia.
Yeah.
Going to be a lot of tailgating. Going to be a lot of mustard and ketchup sprayed on Pinto Ron.
Oh, yeah.
The chefs
Hammer
are going
lot.
to be cooking up some food.
For sure.
Elvis is going to be getting his guitar tuned up.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
Where else would you rather be than right here,
Right now.
right now?
Oh, yeah. There's this channel, these 2 guys, I don't remember, I want to say it was Tim and Dan or something. They have this documentary on Bills fans and their loyalty, where the franchise was in the early 90s to what it is now. And shout out to them, because
Awesome video.
yeah, they said they're going to make a video about once a month, and it's going to air on YouTube, so you can find stuff there. But it was really cool. It's not just going to be about the Bills, though. It's going to be about covering sports in general.
Yeah, and the video
So-
was like 15 minutes, and it will
Yeah.
get you in the feels.
For sure. Yeah. So what I was going to say about that is the whole Marv Levy thing. That was when his mother passed away. It was a poem that he read to the team after their loss, just to get them going. And I mean, they went to 3 more Super Bowls, so I'd say he's a very good motivational speaker.
Something that I've used in my life that I will never forget.
Oh yeah, you use
A
it a
little
lot.
I am hurt, but not yet slain. I'll just lie me down and bleed a while, and then I'll rise and fight again. Shout out Marv Levy, too.
Marv Levy.
All right, let's talk about this matchup.
Yeah.
So, Bills opening at 9.5, and I believe that's up to 10 now. Favorites.
Yeah. Well, I would say my prediction is right around there. Let's do a little breakdown and some history with these teams, and then
Well,
we'll get into
we've
predictions.
played this team, I think, once a year for the last 5 years now, so it's damn
Yep.
near like a divisional opponent
first-
at this point.
So out of the last 4 games that they've played, the Bills won the first 2, Titans won the last 2. That includes the Allen slip at the goal line, and we lost 34-31. But yeah, I mean, the odds are in our favor when it comes to our playoff record against them is 2-1. The loss is the Music City Miracle. Overall, I think the Bills have lost 30 times and won 19. So the Titans, which also count as the Oilers, have gotten the upper hand on us. But I feel like we're trending in opposite directions. And as much as they've got young talent that will be doing good things, I really do think that Malik Willis is going to end up playing sooner than later. I like Tannehill since he's left Miami.
Tannehill still got it. Like
Yeah.
I was watching some film of their game against the Giants last week. He still can sling it in tight pockets. He can still embarrass a cornerback if you let him. It's going to be up to our rush. Can we? Because it's been known that once he gets pressure, once any quarterback gets pressure, that can't move around great.
Yeah. He's definitely a pocket passer.
Their percentages are going to go down. But
Yeah.
I mean, he can still sling it. He's still got talent. I think it's going to take a lot for Malik to eventually come in. But
I think that they just miss A.J. Brown. I mean, he obviously is phenomenal. He made a difference for
they
the
hedged
Eagles.
their bet. They took a big chance by not. They didn't want to pay him the big
Treylon
money.
Burks.
They get Treylon Burks, and I remember hearing on draft day what a bold move by the Titans. They're pretty much putting all they're betting 100% on Treylon Burks to be the next A.J. Brown. Now, once training camp started, it's been, from all reports that I've heard from the Titan camp, it hasn't been, I think, as smooth of a process as I thought they were going to get with a first round pick.
Well, because in the past, you didn't expect your rookie receivers or quarterbacks to be thrown right out there at the Wolves. But, sometimes there's growing pains. Some people develop a little more slowly, and some others do faster. But, I mean, you see Drake London finding success. You've got Jahan Dotson doing pretty well. You've got a lot of these young guys that are looking pretty good.
Like plug and play, right? Some of them are plug and play. Some of them take some time. It's a crapshoot.
Yeah, so, I mean, you see that we had a couple receivers that people were, they were preseason heroes. We've got them on our practice squad.
Khalil
Shakir, I think,
wasn't even in the game. They didn't even activate him.
That's fine.
And that shows we have depth.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So this is actually going to be the 50th meeting between these two franchises. And like I said, the Oilers became the Titans. So we're including that, the 50th appearance. So who's going to win it?
I have a prediction of 41-17. Bills win in astounding fashion and start the home schedule in Buffalo
at Highmark Stadium
with a win.
Okay. Now, obviously, we're high on the Bills last week, and we were right.
We are.
And this week, I think it's going to be a little closer than that, just because they seem to be playing tight games. Out of the last 5, I mean, they were all within a score. Actually, no. The one that wasn't within one score was the COVID year with an empty stadium where we got blown out. But that was on a Tuesday. They basically sabotaged the Bills because they pushed it.
You're right. Maybe I will have to eat my words, and I hope not. You're right. It has been other than that you aforementioned too. It's always been a dogfight. I just think that we stack up pound for pound roster. We do.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt. But
now, if this was in Tennessee, I would even be more concerned. The fact that it's going to be in Buffalo and all that energy from the fans too, that feeds into it.
Yeah, I mean, you're still saying 24 points. I would say
points, yeah, it's a lot.
The Bills scored 31 last week. I say they score 31-ish again, and they allow 17, like you said. But I think it's going to be closer. So that's a 2-score game.
Yeah.
Right? 30, let's say 30-17.
30-17?
Yeah. And you said 41-17.
Yep.
So both wins, both by 2 scores. And I think if we were to get into injuries to see where that kind of puts us at, looks like Pro Bowler, outside linebacker Harold Landry III is going to be out for the Titans for the season. He tore his ACL on August 31st. So that we already kind of knew. But when you're looking at health, we're still waiting on Tre'Davious White to come back. So we've got those young rookie corners, which you told me that Dane Jackson is a little banged up and he may or may not play this week.
I think it might be It's precautionary as of now. All we know is that he's dealing with a knee ailment. Don't know the severity as of yet. It could be nothing.
But the fact that the Bills chose to start Christian Benford, a 6th-round pick, over their 1st-round pick, a lot of teams would actually be pot committed and go,
oh, yeah,
he's our 1st-round pick. It's going to make us look bad that we're starting a 6th-rounder. To me, I think it makes them look better. Because when you make them earn their spot, earn their stripes, earn their starting spot, and you go with a 6th-rounder, nothing against Khair because he was in the game still. They actually rotated, I think, every 2 series, but Benford got the start. That says a lot about our depth. And if Dane, for whatever reason, had to sit out, I think based on the lack of depth that the Titans have at receiver and tight end, we're fine.
That's not letting ego get in the way, right? That is practicing what you preach from McDermott and Bean, that you have to earn it. Yep. There's no giveaways. Doesn't matter if you were taken 1st overall or Mr. Irrelevant.
Yep. That's true.
Whoever wins the battles in camp and who they think is going to give us the best chance to win week to week, you're going to see the field.
That's when you know you're in good hands. And I feel like we're in good hands no matter what. If Dane sits out, even if the other 2 in the back were pedestrian, right? They did okay, just filled in. We've got those front 4 guys that are rotating with another 4 guys, and it's making it easier on the back 7. When you've got Poyer and Hyde back there, all-pro, Pro Bowl safeties, man, it's hard not to root for them or bet on them. And so for us, really, it's just Ed Oliver, who got banged up in that game. He looked good, really good. He may or may not play, and Tim Settle.
So who are your players to watch for the Bills? We'll do players to watch for the Bills, then players to watch for the Titans.
Diggs, I think if he has another good game, I mean, he actually only played, I think, a quarter or 30% of the snaps, but that's how they're keeping him fresh. Like I said, on defense, they're doing that with Von Miller. They're doing that with Stephon Diggs. He still led the team with 8 catches and 122 yards and a touchdown. You still get 80-something yards to Davis. You get another score to McKenzie. Maybe this week it's Cook or one of the backs and Knox.
I was just going to say, I think I would love – I'm so curious to see how Knox gets utilized now. He was a little quiet opening week. He was still very much in the blocking situation and all that, but didn't get a lot of looks otherwise. He's also from Tennessee.
That's right. He is from Tennessee.
He's got Tennessee.
20 minutes outside of Memphis.
He's got Tennessee connections.
Yep.
He knows the history between them and the Bills. Yep. I think he's still very emotional with what's going on in his own personal life.
Sure.
I think he wants to come out in front of Bills Mafia and put up a tutty or two.
But I do think that he's happy with the Bills, the franchise.
Oh, for sure.
No matter what. So
no, yeah, I just think he wants to come out and shine, and I think he is going to be a little bit more prevalent in the passing game on Monday night. I wouldn't be surprised if he got a touchdown or two.
So players to watch, maybe James Cook has more carries this time. Stephon Diggs should have another good game. In his last 2 games, he's had 195 yards and a touchdown. So against the Titans. And a player to watch on the Titans who killed us. I mean, we actually held him to like 60 or 70 yards, and then he broke away with another 76-yard run.
The Stallion, the King.
Derrick Henry, who may lose a step. Each year over the last 4 years, he's regressed a little bit on his yards per carry.
Still a freak of nature.
Absolutely. And I'm still worried because we may think after week 1, we did lead the NFL this past week on run defense and interceptions and sacks. Interceptions, we were in second. But, yeah, you got to watch out for Derrick Henry for sure. And another player to watch would be Robert Woods, who went from the Bills, and then he went with the Rams. And now he came back. You know that he was a college teammate at USC with Matt Barkley?
That's right.
So
there's that.
So they're gonna, reunite a bit, and we've got 3 guys at least who have played for the Titans that will be starting or playing for the Bills, and that's defensive tackle Daquan Jones, David Questenberry, and Roger Saffold. So 2 offensive linemen and 1 defensive lineman. I think Daquan Jones has done a lot for the line. Some people are like, who? We were actually watching the game at the bar, and someone's like, Daquan, who's that? I'm like, you better learn him because he might be like we expected from, what's his name from Carolina who came over to us?
A few moments later.
Okay, so Daquan Jones, I think, actually is a good replacement to Star Lotulelei. That's the name I was trying to think of. And, I mean, they're both run stuffers. They're going to help right up front, and I feel like that's why our run defense is better, partially because of him. Obviously, the whole line's doing great. So how about you tell me who you think you're watching this week?
So, other than Knox,
yep,
that's who I would love to see get more involved on offense, and I think he is going to have a good game. Another person on the Bills that I would be very curious to watch is Gabe Davis. Between pick your poison. Between Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs, we now have a 1A to the 1B. It's pick. They both can run any route tree in the book.
You remember when we had Eric Moulds and Lee Evans? It's like that, but we actually have a quarterback who can get it to him regularly, and he's not 5'8", Lossman.
Oh yeah,
but
didn't Flutie have a little? Flutie had Moulds.
Sure, but that was he wasn't.
Shout out to Flutie, man. Flutie Flakes. God, I love that guy, even though he wasn't with us that long. Man,
you know what? We had talked about Mario Williams. You know how like when Von Miller came here, he's like a guy that put the Bills back on the map. Just like when T.O. came here, it was like something to talk about. But T.O. didn't give us the presence on the field like Von Miller or Mario Williams. So when Mario was here, we had
Mario was very productive.
The cold front. We had Kyle Williams up front, and then we had Marcel Darius.
And
who else was there? I feel like. Anyway, well, you've got this line that was great, but we just didn't have everything else. And now I feel like at every position, we can sit here and just spit out the depth, and it's unbelievable.
Josh Allen, dog. Stephon Diggs, dog.
Von Miller, Dog. Devin Singletary.
Dog.
Dawson Knox.
Dog. Jordan Poyer.
Dog. Jordan Phillips. Dog. That's
We
fun.
could go on.
On and on and on and on and on. I think it was nice of the Bills to actually, they didn't extend Jordan Poyer, but they gave him incentives that increased his ability to make an extra $2 million in salary.
Yeah.
That was cool. So I have some questions for you.
Shoot.
Can the Bills' D-line contain Derrick Henry this time? Because, I mean, he's had our number. He's a 2-time NFL rushing leader for the season. He had 143 yards and 3 touchdowns against us last time we played him.
I don't think that any team can contain Derrick Henry.
I've seen it, but
limit?
in
Yes.
doses.
Yes. We're going to limit him. I don't think we're
Yeah.
going to give up the big chunk play that we gave up last year on the Monday night game.
Sure.
I could see us easily limiting him to 70, 80 yards.
Yeah. That's a win, for sure.
Very much so.
Yeah.
It's the question is how many touchdowns can we limit him to? Can we keep him out of the end zone? And I think we have a great chance. Our defense is clearly different this year. It's even better than last year, which is saying something. So I think can we contain him? Yes, but you can't. He can wear down a defense, and and it's kind of like we were talking about how Von Miller shows patience on the defensive side and he picks his battles. Derrick Henry can chip away at a defense, and you mess up one thing on the defense, and he sees it, and he's gone. And so I think that we're going to contain him. I do think that we're going to hold him to a pretty pedestrian stat line given his caliber. But completely containing him, I think is just it's tough to do.
I feel like, sticking with the running backs, Saquon Barkley, he has resurrected his career.
What an awesome thing to see.
And he's on my fantasy team, which is why I wanted to bring him up. And the Giants beat the Titans last week. So if we get our run game going, not just throwing it deep, because I feel like our offense is so much better than their defense that I feel like this won't be as competitive as it was before. It won't come down to Allen slipping at the goal line.
Yeah. Man, that was stressful. I hope it's not that stressful.
I know. But with the running backs, do you think James Cook will be utilized more than a fumble and then basically kind of, held out for most of the rest of it?
I think he's going to be brought in spurts. I think they might have a couple trick gadget plays, if you will, that they're going to bring him in on. But I think it's going to be another heavy dose of Singletary and Moss.
Yeah,
I do. I think they're going to continue to ease him in. I know that they don't want him to lose his confidence, but I think we're not an insecure team anymore. There's no insecurity issues. He understands the assignment. He fumbled. Yeah. He messed up. If he fumbles in a game in the playoffs in a divisional round where it could cost you to go to the title game, they're going to use him eventually. He's going to get mixed in this game. I'm not expecting him to have anything crazy.
What I like about Dorsey from what I've seen so far, because in the preseason, you're not going to show all your cards, right? But in week 1, I think you game plan for that week. So this week might be, the Titans aren't good at defending tight ends. Boom. Knox, Sweeney, right? Or we can run right up the gut. So maybe we do use Moss. But
do some swing plays
I
to the
feel
outside.
like those little screen passes to the outside might be where we use Cook.
Am I crazy? I brought up this week, we were talking about the option thing, like Allen running some options at some point. Am I crazy?
No. I mean, RPO, run pass option, became a big thing, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years ago. You saw in the game, in the first game, he had this weird play where he was running right up the middle. There were maybe 2 defenders at the 1 yard line, and he was at the 5. We needed to get a first down. It might have been 3rd and goal, actually. And he goes, and then he pulls back and throws a dart to Diggs, who wasn't quite ready for it. It was a little hot.
Clipped his hands. He was,
I like those plays, but, that's where I want him to run, not where he's coming in and fucking bulldozing.
Yeah, picking your battles. And you'd have to do that with the option, right? Because the option puts a quarterback in a vulnerable situation at times as well. But I think if you did use that in the right moments, man, that would be... Because they already respect the run game with Allen, and then to have to worry about like a Singletary or a Cook on the outside to pitch it to.
That excites me to know that there's so much more that we're not aware of the true potential of this team. We have not hit the ceiling.
We don't know what it's going to look like in November, December, January.
How many times do you think we're going to punt? Over, under 1?
Over 1. I'm going to say over 1.
Yeah, I say we're going to punt 1 or 2 times. And if it's 5 and we win, if it's 10 and we win, whatever. We did something wrong if it's 10. But, I do think that it's going to be the over. But, hey.
But
Who knows?
I would love to keep that
Who
streak
knows?
going. That'd be amazing to not punt again. Man, it would be tough. And Vrabel's runs a tight ship. He's a hell of a coach. He's going to have them ready, but whether we have the more talent than they do or not, and I think we do, he's going to have them ready. I see us punting twice.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that works for me. I think we did a good job predicting week 1. We went through the whole season, and then week 2 we have our predictions of 41-17 and 30-17. What were you going to say?
I was just going to real quick talking a little bit more about the Titans.
Yeah.
When I was watching the replay of their game against the Giants, a couple things that stood out. First, Dontrell Hilliard, number 40, their pass catching back. Not only did he make fantasy owners happy, whoever had the balls to start him, he had 2 touchdowns. Not a whole lot in the run game, but in the passing game, he was prevalent.
Yeah.
He put up, I believe, 61 yards in receiving. Watch out, because we're so worried about Derrick Henry, and rightly so, but they also have him, and he had a strong
He's more
game.
of like the McKissick.
Yeah, and now, is the Giants' defense as good as our defense? No. But something to watch out for, and also for fantasy. Maybe I'd sit him against the Bills, but I just hope that they do have him on their radar. And then Christian Fulton, the cornerback for the Titans, got absolutely cooked by Sterling Shepard.
I do like him. He just hasn't been able to stay healthy. And you know what? Shout out to Brian Dable. He got his first win in week 1.
Good for him.
Everyone wondered, are the Bills going to miss a step with losing Dable? And now you've got experts going, maybe Dorsey's even better. So that's a scary thought. But congrats to him.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. He's actually...
And it was a comeback.
He's married to my cousin's ex-wife. So my cousin's kids are... their stepdad is Brian Dable.
That's wild.
So they went from wearing all Bills stuff to, pivoting, and even though they grew up in Buffalo. And Brian Dable's actually from Western New York. They're still in the state of New York-ish.
One New York team.
Yep.
They're in New Jersey. But, yeah, Giants are sticking with the blue. That would be cool to have a repeat. 30... How long has it been? 30 years? 31 years. Can you imagine if somehow Dable had a miracle and Daniel Jones was able to lead them to a Super Bowl and we played them again?
Let's not get stupid.
Okay.
Let's not get
okay,
stupid.
so fantasy-wise, who do you see throughout the league doing something this week that you're hoping for or avoid? I say maybe McKenzie, someone you avoid right now. I mean, he had that fumble because I feel like they used Crowder more than we were expecting. Kick and punt return is one thing,
he's
but
a safety net for Allen, and he's a good one.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Herbert played tonight. He's my starting quarterback, and he got nailed. It brought me back. Do you remember when Allen threw the ball at Jones for the Chiefs? The lineman, he chucked it at him.
Yes, he was pissed off in the
because he wouldn't get off of him.
Divisional game or the title game?
That was the title game.
The AFC
that was the title game.
And he just goes throws it in his face. Yeah, he was pissed.
That reminded me that the Chiefs, as good as they are, can play a little dirty. And with Herbert, they landed. Now it might have been incidental the first time.
Once they saw he was wincing, they were not shying away.
They're going after his ribs, and I'm like, oh man. Now
blood in the water.
Good thing he wears rib pads, but I feel like Herbert pulled a Stafford esque effort and stayed in there. He probably shouldn't have. You were getting pissed saying, bring in the backup. This is a bad move by Staley.
I love the Chargers, and I like Staley, but there are some moments in games that make me scratch my head. What do I know? I'm not. If I knew as much as he would, I'd be making millions being a coach.
But he is a dog. Herbert he stuck with it. Now it's controversial. There was like a short pass to Eckler who went out of bounds, but they kept the clock running. That was 20 seconds they lost. They got down there. They scored to make it 24-21. And then time ran out.
They had a chance.
They almost got that onside kick.
They had a chance.
But that game, starts week 2. What a beautiful matchup between AFC rivals, right? Those teams are just going to beat the hell out of each other.
AFC
the
West
only
is going to
team
be
that
the
has
Game
a
of
win.
Thrones every week.
I know, but the only team that has a win right now?
Battle of attrition.
The only team that doesn't have a loss right now are the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So
Those
you had the Raiders lose,
Chiefs.
the Broncos lost, And then you have the Chargers who just lost.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Chargers jerseys are fire. I mean,
I
if there's a
love
team that rivals the Bills
Man, I
jerseys
love
and
them.
may even be better, maybe it's the Chargers.
Those powder blues.
The
With the
blue
lightning
with the
bolt,
bowl
man.
is just beautiful. We don't know what the Bills are wearing yet this week.
Jerseys. We do not.
They're at home. Maybe they'll do white. You know, usually when you're the away team, you use white, and then your home colors, you're doing like the blue, right? They mixed it up so
They'll
much.
probably do the traditional blue on white.
Oh, did you know that that Jim Kelly's going to lead the charge?
I do know that he's going to be the Legends
fitting.
of the Game. I
Yes.
think it's Legends
Yep.
of the Game. He's
Yep,
the legend
he
of
is
the
the
game.
legend for sure. No doubt, he's a
Damn
legend.
right he is.
Yeah.
You know, a lady commented, and thank you. First and foremost, thank you everyone that
is right.
supported our initial video. Means the world to us. We're doing this because we love to talk about Bills football,
Yeah.
and we do it anyways. So why not broadcast it and have
Yeah.
some other people get some content?
Yeah.
So thank you for supporting us. A lady commented. She goes, "Well, why is it called the house that Alan built? You know, Kelly built this house." You are right. Kelly did build that stadium. He's the one that helped put the Bills on the map. Whether you want to, you know, we can get all nostalgic and cry in our Wheaties about the 4 Super Bowl losses, but no one has ever done that, gone to 4 straight. And he truly did help build it. But Allen is the new era. And what's cool is like Kelly was getting interviewed by Brownie and Tasker.
Yeah, Chris Brown and Steve Tasker. Yep.
And you know, he just mentioned, he goes, "I hope Allen breaks all my records," and he's going
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
And he's like,
Oh,
he's so humble
hopefully.
about it, you know. And he's like, "I want him to break all my records, and I want him to get the one thing that we're all wanting, and that's a Super Bowl." And he knows it's Allen's time, and I mean, he's just so humble about it. And you know, that new stadium will be you know, started before we know it, and hopefully, if Allen did bring a Super Bowl to the city, that would truly be the
essence,
house that he built.
It will. It will.
You know?
Now, technically, Ralph Wilson built the house, right?
Yes, he
Ralph
did.
Wilson,
Rest in
Rich
peace.
Stadium,
Yeah. I mean,
whatever you want to call it.
He's the reason why there's
But
football in Buffalo.
Kelly brought the relevancy to the Bills in the 90s. I mean, it was
he was the
there
face,
was Jack Kemp,
the quarterback face that
yeah, absolutely.
any
And-
franchise would have wanted.
And I feel like he's mentioned it many times that like his hometown of Firebaugh, the Bills and that area, the region reminds him so much of that, and he feels at home. You know, cantaloupe
Allen,
farmer
yeah.
who comes here, blue collar, you know, underrated, right?
Yeah.
Just like the Bills, they're always, you know, the underdogs until this year, which is
Yeah.
what makes us nervous at times.
Yeah.
But there's so many reasons to be hopeful. There's so many reasons to be excited as a Bills fan. I feel like week 2, we should keep it going. I mean, our predictions, I think we said they start like 7-1 or 7-0,
we know
whatever it was.
even I mean, that stadium in LA was loud on Thursday. We know it's going to be a hell of a lot louder in Buffalo. I can
Yeah.
guarantee that.
Yeah.
No slight to. I get there's some OG LA fans out there that have followed the team from when they were in LA to St. Louis and back. But let's be honest, y'all's fans don't match up to the Bills.
No, do you remember the
it's just-
fan
just
competition
facts.
for best fans?
Yes.
And the Titans fans were accused of botting the system because we were winning, and then suddenly the Titans pulled ahead, and they're like, "Oh, we got better fans." Now, you know what? I love Tennessee, Memphis. You know, even Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, that whole area, the Smoky Mountains is just awesome. And I've been to Vols games, you know, and whatnot. But I just feel like they're coming to Buffalo. We'll see. I don't think they travel nearly as well as the Bills do. And, you know, Stafford had to use silent counts in his own friggin' stadium because
that
Bills
something?
Mafia.
But I thought The Rock got them all hyped up. The LA fans all hyped up. Didn't
God,
that work or
I
something?
really like The Rock, but you can overexpose yourself. Him and Kevin Hart are just...
I love The Rock too,
Yeah,
but cringe.
man.
I mean, you're trying too hard.
Now
at that
it's just
point.
a thing.
If
He's
you got to
like-
bring The Rock in to try to hype up your team, you know you fucked up.
And you get your ass kicked, so it's like, okay, maybe you should stop doing that. Yeah, it worked in the Super Bowl, I guess. It's just a gimmick.
I had
It's
to
a
roll
gimmick.
my eyes in the Super Bowl too. It just, I love The Rock, just not that. That's just going. That's trying too hard. You asked me real quick. I just want to touch on fantasy because you asked me about the fantasy thing. So I am in 3 leagues. I'm usually only in 1. Then this guy got me to join in to his one, which is
Now,
$100 buy-in
it's called
league.
Pigskin Martin. Last name's Kinmartin. Pigskin is a football.
Play on words.
It is. And
if
this
you
is my
will.
22nd year as commissioner.
And I've got my league, which is the South Dakota State Jackrabbit Alumni League that I've been
So the
going for
SDSU
12
league.
years.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And I'm the commissioner of that one. Anyways, I joined the 3rd one this year with a couple buddies from Rapid City where I grew up, and shout out to James Wright and Levi Franz, my old 800 meter buddies back in high school. We kept it on lock on the old track.
Yeah.
But so out of my 3 leagues, I was 2 for 3. I won. I opened up 1-0 in 2 of my leagues. Lost my opening week in your league, which happens to be the only one where I've got $100 riding.
You scored
on
the
it.
3rd or 4th most points,
I
but you're
did.
in 7th
I
because
did,
you're
but-
the highest scoring loser.
Ain't this something? Now,
Yeah.
fantasy can be a real bitch sometimes. Especially when I had Josh
That's
Allen.
why I can't do 3 teams, because then you're rooting.
I know. I had Josh Allen on my SDSU team, but I was going against him in your league, which is fine.
Real life
I was like,
always
I'll
matters
take,
more.
Exactly. I'm like, I will take the loss in one of these leagues. I'm not going to obviously cheer against.
I'll play in 10 leagues with a $100 buy-in and lose all of them if we win the Super Bowl. I don't give a shit.
I don't have enough money to do something like that.
You know what's crazy is I don't have a single Bills player. 2 years ago, I won the league, and my team name was Pigs in a Blanket. Or, sorry, Digs in a Blanket. This year, it's Buffalo Bisons. And I've used that name. I have a Bills player, but I've never been a homer and drafted more than that. The fact that Allen went 4th overall in this league
that's because there's
wasn't going to do that. So I got Herbert in the 3rd round. But I feel like I got Justin Jefferson in the 1st.
Oh, man.
Saquon
Justin
Barkley in the
Jefferson.
2nd. They both were number 1
Ooh,
in their
is he
position.
liking that new offensive coordinator and head coach? I think so.
So guess who's number 1 in the league right now and up by 20 points
Yeah.
from 2nd place. 20 points. So anyway.
What's my team name in your league? Show me your TDs.
Show me your TDs. And your picture is like this meme of Brian Dable in glasses and aviators.
He's wearing the old Aves.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
sir.
I see you have something written down there about Jalen Warren. Do you want to talk about him?
Yeah, we can go over some quick more fantasy news.
Sure.
You know.
And then we're going to wrap this up, okay?
Yeah, well,
we're pretty much done.
we promised y'all that we'd be talking mostly Bills, but we're fantasy fanatics. We're going to slip in some fantasy when we can.
Sure.
Jalen Warren, he's starting to get picked up in leagues. There was some concern about Najee Harris this week. He had tweaked an ankle or a foot. His foot was bothering him. It is a smart stash. Really, mainly if you have Najee Harris on your team, I would go after Jalen Warren if he's still available. There's going to be someone that's going to try to snipe him for leverage if they know that you have Harris. They were even talking about this before there was some injury speculation about Najee, so just something to keep in mind. Also, I talked about how I lost Elijah Mitchell. I'm still pissed about it because he was a 5th round.
I mean, I saw the injury, and sometimes they blow out their ACL or whatever with a non-contact injury. In this case, it was wet and he slipped.
And he's so good. And when he was healthy, he dealt with injuries last year. But when he was on the field, he was so good. And I picked him, but shame on me. And just that, I would stay away from that Niners backfield right now. You can try to pick up one of the backups, but in that offense,
I actually don't think it's Wilson Jr. that's going to get the.
Who knows?
Yeah.
It's so all over. And then you got Debo that's going to vulture potential touchdown opportunities. You have Jalen Hurts that's going to vulture. I would stay away from the Niners running backs. But
you say Jalen Hurts?
Trey
Lance?
Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Trey Lance. I would have patience. If you picked up Alberto, tight end for the Broncos, I would continue to have patience on him. I think if you're able to hold 2 tight ends, he's definitely showed some potential where he could be a piece going forward. I did swap him out in one of my leagues for Gerald Everett, which did work out in my favor tonight.
He did. How many points did you end
He
up
put up
with
10 and half PPR.
Okay.
I did start Valdez-Scantling also, and I'm pissed about that. He put up 2 points.
That's
in
fantasy.
half PPR.
You just never know. You never know.
I know. And I traded for him this week, so I was going to be like, I just
Chargers
traded
defense
for him
looked
and
good.
wanted to get some points out of him. Yeah.
It's a tale of 2 halves. The Chargers look great in the first half, so I don't know if I'd blame the receivers. And in the second half, Mahomes started exposing them and finding little holes. But
And fantasy players out there, if you are a person like I am this year, predominantly, I'm streaming. So I went with the strategy of really not prioritizing tight end or defense until late in the
You definitely
draft.
did a little more unconventional. You're normally running back heavy early on.
Very much so.
But now you're streaming each week.
And so, if for you streamers out there that like to stream defenses, I've got a couple options for you if they're still available. I'm feeling really good about the Rams defense this week. I think they're going to bounce back at home against the Falcons. Not only do I think they're pissed off that they got embarrassed by us during what was supposed to be a Super Bowl celebration, they're playing at home. The Falcons are a team I don't think they're going to be in any kind of playoff mix. Mariota seemed to show some promise last week, but I think that the Rams are going to come out angry, and I think there could be some.
I'm picking them.
there.
I'm doing a Survivor League, and and I picked the Rams.
Yeah.
I picked them before week 1. So even more so, like I still have an opportunity to change it.
Yep.
I didn't bother before
Eagles
this game.
defense, don't sleep on that team. They look very legit, and they're playing in what now is somewhat of a weak NFC East. You got now with the Dallas Cowboys situation, the Washington Commanders, they're always a shit show.
Wentz look good.
He's Jekyll and Hyde. I will believe it when I see him put it together week in and week out.
2017, he was like unstoppable. Then he hurt his leg.
Yeah. And then Cincy defense. I feel really good about Cincy's defense this week going against that Cowboys team that now doesn't have
Dak Prescott.
They are going to be in Dallas, but I just have a feeling that Cincy could be a sneaky little streamer play there.
So Cooper Rush is starting for them for only the second time.
Yeah.
And I think without Dak, who didn't look that great in the opener, originally he was supposed to be out 6 to 8 weeks, and somebody in our league dropped him, and they grabbed him in like the 4th round. I picked him up and threw him on IR.
Yeah, if you have an IR spot, if for those that are new to fantasy, or maybe you're not, you just know about. If you've got IR spots in your league, use them. You can strategically stash them away and still add another person on your active roster.
If they're out or doubtful, I believe you can. And if they're on IR anyway, then you obviously can put them there. But
like in my STSU league, I picked up Gus Edwards this week after the waivers cleared because I could just pop him on injured reserve. It's just a lottery ticket. He's expected to come back in a month or a month.
You have nothing to lose, literally nothing, unless one of your starters also gets hurt and you got to push someone else out.
Yeah,
and you can use one of those late round flyers or somebody that you picked up off waivers.
Yeah,
and cut them.
Yeah,
over losing somebody that you have more potential in. So.
Yeah, and so for those of you that are paying attention at home, and we're watching our first episode, our inaugural one, if you will. Scott and I kind of have a collection of Josh Allen cards.
Yeah, I've got several hundred. Our buddy Nathan got us into it. He's got a good.
I've got
good
55,
selection.
60, nothing compared to yours. Yeah. But this right here is a beautiful Josh Allen downtown card.
It is amazing. This is
2021. So the original downtown card was his rookie season, 2018. Those are going for anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 graded.
Oh yeah.
This is the 2021 version. I think it's almost cooler with the graphics. It's not worth as much.
It is cooler, but they both have these hidden things in them that are really cool.
You got Dawson Knox. They're in the background. You got the buffalo, and then in the buffalo is a bunch of other buffalo with the downtown buffalo skyline in the distance. It's just super cool.
And this is a card that I mentioned last week here. If I put it right here, you'll see. Now, you can hardly see the autograph, but it is autographed. And the hat that I was wearing last week, I believe, was a 2018 draft hat for the Bills. And it's just a beautiful card. It reminds me of the Freedom candy cane style that they made in 2021, which I just pulled a Jamar Chase rookie from. If anyone wants one, let me know.
Jamar Chase candy cane rated rookie, very rare, and he pulled it out of a pack.
Yep.
Well, a hanging pack, an individual $13 pack, which is just nuts because usually you find those kind of cards in blasters or more specifically hobby
and it's
boxes.
A case hit. And a case hit could be, you could get a Tyreek Hill Freedom candy cane one, and it's worth $30 or $300, right?
Yep.
But you get a Jamar Chase rookie card, and that one's going to go for at least probably $400 or $500.
Yeah, that's super cool. The fact that you had the foresight too to get that early on.
Oh, I did. Yeah, like I said last week, How
much did you pay for that one?
This one, I think it was $70, and it's worth about $3,000 to $5,000 now.
Boom! Put that in your pipe and smoke it, huh?
Yeah, look that up on eBay, and there's very few of them, and the ones that are for sale are like $8,000. The reason why they haven't sold yet is they're probably not worth $8,000 yet. But there was a card I was after, and the guy wanted $270. I offered $225. He said no, and I said fine, let's meet in the middle, $250. He jacked his price up to $340. That asshole after one game. So I'm like, you're gonna do that after one game? I don't feel
all is fair in love.
I can't hate on the guy. I tried to barter with him. I should have just bought now. There was an option for buy now, and I missed out.
The one that got away.
I have so many that it doesn't matter. I mean, I've got of all 2018, 19, 20, 21, and now 22, I have the most cards of his rookie year. A lot of them are either base or like numbered to 50 or 100, but I only have 4 autos only. And this is probably my favorite one for sure. So
super cool.
Anyway, we're into the Buffalo Bills. We're into Josh Allen's cards. We are into Monday Night Football this week. It's going to be a 4:15 kickoff our time because we're on the West Coast. And it's going to be 7:15 East Coast on ESPN.
And as always, Bills Mafia, slam some Labatt's or maybe some Bud Light that has the Bills logo on them because they sell those as well in Western New York.
Yep.
Whatever beer, look, Labatt's is kind of synonymous with Bills fans, but whatever beer you choose, slam it, slam through some tables safely, tailgate your asses off, bring the noise, and don't forget to take a couple hydration breaks.
No doubt. This episode is brought to you by the Buffalo Bills. Thank you for watching episode 1. Hopefully you're watching episode 2. If you haven't seen episode 1, please go back and watch it. And if you're watching this for the first time, please share, please follow, and give us a like. Let us know in the comments what you think. If you hate it, let us know that too. If you want to see something different or you have questions, feel free to ask them in the comments and we will answer them in week 3.
And we're going to try our first episode. You know, it was our first ever one and we had a lot to go over. So it ended up being about an hour and a half. We're going to try to keep the subsequent videos to like 45-hour range.
45 hours. We're going to sit here for 45 hours.
It's going to be a 45-hour Bills marathon. So
we're going to need to have some Monster or Red Bull or something. Yeah. So thank you so much.
And don't
Greg,
forget,
as always,
let's go Buffalo. Woo! Boom, baby.
Good.
Good shit, man.
Check.
Break.
Is this mic on?
Out now, brown cow. Unique New York. The arsonist had oddly shaped feet.
Billy the Buffalo.